Hi everyone, welcome this packet tracer. Configure security shell. Before we can start with this activity, we need to read a little bit over this topic, secure devices. Okay, so secure the device password recommendation. To protect network devices, it's important to use a strong password. Here are standard guidelines to follow. Use a password length of at least 8 characters, preferable 10 or more characters. A longer password is a more secure password. Make password complex. Include a mix of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, symbols, and space if allowed. Avoid passwords based on repetition, common dictionary words, letter or number sequence, username, relative or pet names, biographical information such as birth dates, ID number, ancestor names, or other easy identifiable pieces of information. Deliberately misspell a password, for example, in this form, and change password often. If a password is unknowingly compromised, the window of opportunity for the threat actor to use the password is limited. Do not write passwords down and leave them in obvious places such as on desk or monitor. The table shows examples of a strong and weak password. And this is a weak password and this is a strong password. On Cisco routers, leading space are ignored for passwords, but the space after the first character are not. Therefore, one method to create a strong password is to use the spacebar and create a phrase made by many words. This is called a passphrase. A passphrase is often easy to remember than a simple password. It's also longer and harder to guess. The next point is secure remote access. There are multiple ways to access a device to perform configuration tasks. One of the ways is to use a PC attached to the console port on the device. This type of connection is frequently used for initial device configuration. Setting a password for console connection access is done in global configuration mode. This command prevents unauthorized users from accessing user mode from the console port. This is the command to enter in the console or in the device. Line console 0, password, and login. When the device is connected to the network, it can be accessed over the network connection using security shell or telnet. Security shell is the preferred method because it's more secure. When the device is accessed through the network, it's considered a virtual teletype connection or VTY. The password must be assigned to a VTY port. The following connection is used to enable security shell access to the switch with the command line VTY 0 throw 15 password. Select the transport input, in this case security shell, and login. An example configuration is shown in the command window. Line console 0, password, login, and exit. And for establish a connection uh, through the network is with the command line bty 0 throw 15 password and login. By default, many Cisco switches support up to 16 virtual lines that are numbered 0 through 15. The number of BTY line support on a Cisco router varies with the type of router and the iOS version. However, 5 is the most common numbers of BTY lines configured on a router. These lines are numbered 0 through 4 by default, though additional lines can be configured. A password needs to be set for all available BTY lines. The same password can be set for all connections. To verify that the passwords are set correctly, use the use the show running config command. These passwords are stored in the running configuration in plain text. It's possible to set encryption on all passwords stored within the router so that they are not easy read by unauthorized individuals. The global configuration command service password encryption ensures that all passwords are encrypted. With remote access secured on the switch, you can now configure security shell. The next point is enable security shell. Before configuring security shell, the switch must be minimal configured with a unique host name and the correct network connectivity settings. Step 1. Verify security shell support. Use the show IP security shell command to verify that the switch supports security shell. If the switch is not running an IOS that support cryptographic features, this command is unrecognized. Step 2. Configure the IP domain. Configure the IP domain name of the network using the IP domain name global configuration mode command. In the example configuration below, the domain name value is cisco.com. Step 3. Generate RSA key pairs. Not all versions of the iOS default to Security Shell version 2 and Security Shell version 1 has no security flaws. To configure Security Shell version 2, issue the IP Security Shell version 2 global configuration mode command. Generating an RSA key pair automatically enables Security Shell. Use the crypto key generate RSA global configuration mode command to enable the Security Shell server on the switch and generate an RSA key pair. When generating RSA key pair, the administrator is prompted to enter a modulus length. The sample configuration in the figure uses a module size of 1024 bits. A longer modulus length is more secure, but it takes more time to generate and to use. Note: delete the RSA key pair. Use the cryptokey0c RSA global configuration mode command. After the RSA key pair is deleted, the security shell server is automatically disabled. Step 4. Configure user authentication. The security shell server can unauthorize user locally or use an authentication server. To use the local authentication method, create a username and password pair with the username, and secret password global configuration mode command. In the example, the user admin is assigned to the password CCNA. Step 5. Configure the VTY lines or virtual teletypes line. Enable the security shell protocol on the virtual line using the transport input security shell line. Configuration node command. The Catalyst 2960 has virtual lines ranging from 0 through 15. This configuration prevents non-security shell such as telnet connection and limits the switch to accept only security shell connection. Use the line virtual global configuration mode command and then the login local LAN configuration mode command to require a local authentication for security shell connection from the local user database. Step 6. Enable Security Shell version 2. By default, Security Shell support both versions 1 and 2. When supporting both versions, this is shown in the show IP security shell output as show as supporting version 1.99 version 1 as known vulnerabilities. For this reason, it is recommended to enable only version 2. Enable security shell version using the IP security shell version 2 in the global configuration command. In this case, we can see all these steps in execution. In this case, the first command is show IP security shell, and we can see this device have the 1.99 version. The next command, configure terminal IP domain name, assign the domain name, in this case cisco.com, generate a key, generate RSA crypto, and create a username, open the line virtual teletype lines from 0 through 15, assign the transport, in this case security shell, enter the command login and IP security shell version 2. Okay, this is a little practice and use the syntax checker to configure security shell on a switch S1. In this case, the next point is verify security shell on a PC, and security shell client such as PuTTY is used to connect to a security shell server. For the example, the following have been configured: security shell enabled on switch 1 or switch S1, active interface VLAN 99, SBI is switch virtual interface with IPv4 address 172.16, sorry, 17.99.11 on switch S1, and PC1 with IPv4 address 172.17.99.21. In the figure, the technician is initiating a security shell connection to the SBI VLAN IPv4 address of S1. The terminal software PuTTY is shown. This is a case in the real life. With this program, PuTTY entered in established a connection with the switch in the remote form. Okay. After clicking open here, the user is prompted for a username and password. Using the configuration from the previous example, the username admin and password CCNA are entered. After entering the correct combination, the user is connected by security shell to the click command line interface on the Catalyst 2960 switch the device. To display the version and configuration data for security shell on the device that you configured as a security shell server or SSH, use the show IP SSH command in the example. Security shell version 2 is enabled. To check the security shell connection to the device, use the show SSH command. Okay, here is the command, enter. And right now go with this activity. Okay, wait a second. Packet tracer configure security shell addressing table and objectives. Part 1 secure password. Part 2 encrypt communication. And part 3 verify security shell implementation. Background scenario: security shell shall replace telnet for management connection. Telnet use insecure plain text communication. Security shell provides security for remote connection by providing a strong encryption on all transmitted data between devices. In this activity, you will secure a remote switch with password encryption and security shell. Instruction: secure password. Using the command prompt on PC1 telnet to S1, the user exit and privilege exit password is Cisco. Okay, my first step is entering PC1, the next entering tab desktop and entering terminal. Check the dates or this character is well and enter with OK. Okay, again terminal. Okay, okay, is enter and command prompt and open a port with telnet. With this command telnet and enter the IP address. password in this case is Cisco. Okay, okay. Save the current configuration so that any mistakes you may make can be reversed by toggling the power for S1. Okay, enter the copy running command, copy running config, and start. Enter destination file name, enter again. Okay, show the current configuration and note that the password are in plain text. In the global configuration mode, enter the command that encrypts plain text password. Okay, first step is show the current configuration. We show running config. Okay, here is my password in plain text. Okay, and we can encrypt this password with the command service. Okay, in config terminal, enter the command service password encryption and verify that the password are encrypted. Okay, exit and show running config. Okay, in this case, my password is encrypted. Step 2, encrypt communication. Set the IP domain name and generate secure keys. It is generally not safe to use telnet because data is transferred in plain text. Therefore, use security shell whenever it's available. Configure the domain name to be netcap.pka. Okay. Enter in global configuration with config terminal and with the command IP domain name. Okay. Item or item secure keys are needed to encrypt the data. Generate the RSE keys using a 1024 keys length with the command crypto key generate RSA. Okay, how many bits in the module? Enter the amount, in this case 1024. Enter. Step 2, create a security shell user and reconfigure the virtual teletypes line for security shell only access. Create an administrator use with Cisco as a secret password. Okay. Again, in config terminal or global mode, enter the command username. Okay, username administrator. Secret and the key or the password. Okay, and configure the virtual teletypes line to check the local username database for login credential and to only allow security shell for remote access. Remove the existing virtual teletype line password. Okay, with the command line bty 0 through 15. Okay, I in the interface and enter login local. Okay, login local, transport, input, security shell, and no password Cisco. So the next step, part 3, verify security shell implementation. Exit the telnet session and attempt to log back is in using telnet, the attempt shall fail. Okay, and I close this with exit, exit, and exit, and close, and close. Enter again in PC1 with the command telnet. The message is connection closed by foreign host. Attempt to log in, use security shell type, enter without any parameters to reveal the command user instruction. Upon successful login, enter the privileged exit mode and save the configuration. If you were unable to access to switch 1, toggle the power and begin again to part 1. Okay, enter the security shell 10 with the IP address. Okay, PC1, desktop, terminal, no command prompt, only with security shell. Okay, SSH. um, Administrator. Okay, and the password Cisco. Okay, I enter in the switch and user mode with the command enable for the privilege mode or execute mode and enter in config terminal. Okay, Well, I can enter in the switch with security shell. This is our encrypted method to connect by remotely to the switch. I hope this video you help or useful for you, and see you in the next one. Bye.